My friend, how much money do you make?
Well, my number one year in e-commerce was $10 million a year. And last year, I sold my company, and the combined company raised $15 million at a $75 million valuation.
Okay. What do you do?
So primarily, everyone knows me from my e-commerce background. I started just like many other people. I started in dropshipping. Funny enough, I started in Shopify in 2013. So
oh my God.
The first time that I made my store was 2013. And the reason why was I read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Mm-hmm. And at that time, he was an investor in Shopify. He was one of the first angel investors. And in that book, he showcased that he got the life he wanted by building a supplement company and using Shopify. So I said to myself, that's my chance. That's my way of breaking into e-commerce. And I thought to myself at the time, if I could just make $100 a day, I'd be all right. If I could just learn how to make $100 online, I could live any type of life I wanted. It only took 4 years for me to really make Shopify successful in 2017.
Okay, so then I'm curious because you made a brand that did over $10 million.
Yeah.
A single brand, which is crazy. But after that, you moved on to no-code software, and you even went the venture-backed route. And so if you were motivated by the lifestyle with Shopify, and then you accomplished that, why'd you decide to go into venture-backed software?
It was the reason why I stopped dropshipping to go into my brand. I let go of dropshipping, and I said, I made enough money. Now I need to start a brand. And it felt like a natural transition.
Very natural.
I built a brand. I know what I can do in e-commerce, but in order for me to build really big enterprise value, go for $1 billion mark, in a way I wanted to like one-up the relationship kind of thing. I wanted to build something even bigger. I said to myself, I can start $1 billion software company. I am talented, I have the skills, I have the ability, and I've built my network in e-commerce. I have so many friends like Sebastian Georgi and many others who are inside e-commerce. So I knew I could build a software company to service them. And a transition was happening. A transition from email to SMS was taking place. There was all this new legislation taking place with TCPA compliance that SMS was going to be the way that 20 to 30% of revenue was going to come in from Shopify stores. And I wanted to position myself in that environment. I just felt I had to move on. I had to take it to the next level. And then I started spending the next 3 years building a software company. There's a lot of trial and tribulations that I wish someone would have told me. So maybe we could dive into that about, there's a lot of misconceptions about raising venture capital or bootstrapping a company or how to start a software company or how to use these new tools today that I had no experience in. I was diving deep into a new industry with a big ego and a good amount of money and falling flat on my face for the first couple of years.
Okay, so let's explain that. You saw the opportunity
Yes.
that SMS was going to be the new form of marketing, essentially,
Yes.
or direct communication with your customers. And so you had a thesis for this company.
Yep.
Did you raise right away?
No, I didn't raise right away. So my intention was I have enough money. So I said, I'm going to spend 3 years on this company. I'm going to put $500,000 in this company, just theoretical, like this is how much I'm willing to spend before I stop this company. And I'm going to go all in on it. And I don't need to raise any money. I could do this all myself, etc. That was completely wrong because there's two types of software companies you could start. One is a cash flow based software company with the method of distribution and building it with very low costs, almost like an MVP. And the second is you're going after a huge outcome, a venture-backed company. By definition, a venture-backed company is a company that can go 100x. Any great VC only invests in opportunities that can do that. But here's the paradox. You have to capture a market really quickly. And so to capture a market really quickly, well, you either have to have some crazy level of distribution, like a personal brand, or something goes viral, something crazy happens, or you have to burn a lot of money on salespeople, on acquiring customers, and afford that long-term value. And I thought I could do both simultaneously. And by the time I realized I should raise money, I was getting outcompeted. We had so many people come from behind. Attentive Mobile raised almost close to $1 billion in funding at a $10 billion valuation. You had Klaviyo raise $400 million. You had Postscript raise $150 million. You had Emotive raise $50. You had all these companies raise so much money, and then we go raise $1 million. Because I'm talking to these top VCs, and they tell me, well, these guys just raised all this money a couple of months back. How can you beat them? How can you be first place? Remember, disproportionate impact goes to first and second place. You don't know who finished fourth and fifth place in the 100-meter dash. All the rewards go to the top people. So if you're not the top, you're in a really bad position if you raise money. It's like a golden handcuffs position where you essentially bought yourself a small salary position to kill yourself.
Like you literally have to work on this for 2 years.
Yes.
But the money that's raised is just going to your salary.
It's going to and I didn't even take salary.
Yeah.
What's crazy is I was working for free. And the other crazy part was the money you make in the company doesn't go to you because it's not getting distributed to you because there's investors. And these investors have liquidation preferences. That means that if you sell the company over this, well, they get their money first before you make any money.
So you spent basically too much time trying to figure it out yourself, too much money. And then you realize you need a lot of capital because the incumbents are building SMS and they already have every advantage. Now they have way more money to get more sales. And then once you raise, you basically lock yourself into a business in a losing situation because you still raised.
I locked myself in at a losing position.
And ethically, you couldn't just call it quits even though because you just raised money.
So
that sounds like
a rock and a hard place.
Nightmare.
A rock and a hard place.
A mental torment, personally. I don't think
absolutely, because it's like a falling knife. You're deep into a position.
You subconsciously know it.
Yeah, you're deep into a position. I mean, think about this. You spend now a year, so much money. You have all these employees relying on you. You've already committed so much of yourself. And to just quit, like, making that decision to quit is just not in my nature. But the second part of that was trying to swim upstream. Like, you're in a losing battle and maybe you can emerge out victoriously, which we managed to do towards the end. But I would urge you to put yourself in the right position from the beginning. Make the right moves in the beginning.
Do you want to explain what those would be?
The right moves in the beginning, this is what I tell every single person that I mentor today, is you're going to start your software company with less than $1,000. Here's how you're going to do it. First thing you're going to do is you're going to mock up on Figma, just a basic wireframe. You're going to go on Upwork or Dribbble, hire someone for a couple of $100 to refine that design on Figma. Make it clickable. So it's a full prototype. You can click through just like it would in production. But remember, it's just design. You're going to make a simple landing page, a headline, a Loom video walking through your Figma prototype as it was real in production, and you're going to start hitting up people to do conversations, investors, partners, people who could join your team. Start gathering support. Spending no money until you validate your concept. Only once you validate your concept, you've got some commitments, or you raise money, do you start building. Don't build, this is your first go around, do not build until you validated and got commitment first. Validate your premise, validate what does the software stand for and what are people actually going to pay for before you dive deep. I just need to build this amazing product, I'm going to engineer it, and then all the customers are just going to fly in. Doesn't happen. It never happens that way.
I've seen a YouTuber that I watch, he validated his idea just by making a landing page and offering $75 lifetime access if you purchase, and all he did was the Figma, and it looked like a product. But he had not even started coding it yet. And so he just made a landing page, sold it, literally made 75 grand, and then started making the product, and it took him 3 months from that to launch once you got it validated. So
it's a Kickstarter model.
It's such an opposite way to think about it.
It's a Kickstarter model. You validate your concept to the market first, and then you tackle on engineering it. Because a product is just a moment of time. Products are very easy to create nowadays. With all these new tools, the products are a dime a dozen. The difficult part, distribution, value proposition, branding, team, and who's behind it. Like, who are your partners in the ecosystem, your investors, your affiliates. All those things matter infinitely more than the product. The product is only important once you've nailed all those out, dictating how big it can really go.
This is why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because you found like the most modern way to run a software company, and you are the one who's put us on to no-code tools. And so every time I'm talking about no-code, we learned it from George. What is the correct, most modern way to run a software company now?
First one, I would start with what I call digital dropshipping or mini SaaS. A mini SaaS is a template, a workflow within an existing software. So think about a Notion template.
Right.
It's just one link that you're selling. Think about a Zapier workflow.
Right.
Think about a Go High Level snapshot. Think about a Bubble template. I want you to create one of those or simply buy an existing one, refurbish it, remake a different brand, and digital dropship. You're essentially selling a software product. It's a piece of code that you're selling, but you're not controlling the underlying software. So you're not controlling Notion. You're not controlling Go High Level. These are existing companies that you're creating a piece of code that you could sell one to thousands of people. That's where I would start. And I would get really good at developing out a simple funnel and learning the basics of traditional e-commerce. Now, once you get a little bit under your belt, the second way to go into the next chapter and a quote unquote a more true SaaS is you can leverage these existing tools like Bubble, Webflow, Framer, and Figma. The top way is you have to use a design resource kit, Tailwind UI, or my designer, Align UI, develop a simple software, couple of pages, nothing crazy, on Figma, make it a prototype. Hire someone on Upwork to make that on Bubble. Then for your front website, use Framer or Webflow to start driving traffic. You can get all this done in under $3,000. There's no reason why any software should start with more than $5,000. Honestly, if I were to start BlueReceipt over today, it could be done in under $5,000. Because remember, I would validate the concept to see how much potential there is from the market before I spend all this time and money to actually engineer the full product. And once you get customers in the door, that MVP, you have to be really clear. That's why the landing page is so important, because you clarify what the hell are people going to pay for. That headline is 80% of the value prop. So on Revamp, when you say create a newsletter in 30 seconds, that right there is probably the most important part of your whole software. So you guys are spending all this time, I'm going to build a little intricate, like I was, I'm going to build a little intricacies of my software and design all this stuff. And you come to realize 80% of the value is in the headline. Like it's counterintuitive.
The one core value you provide to your customers.
The core value that people are truly going to pay for.
Not more features.
Not more features. You have to get someone to purchase and expand. You can't, think about how do you penetrate the body? You penetrate the body with a needle. Something very narrow, very precise, but once you're in, you can expand as fast as you want. So once you get that customer in your platform and he wants all these additional features, okay, land and expand. But one key value proposition that people are dying to pay you for. If you cannot nail that out, no 15,000 features are going to help you. They're not. If anything, they're going to hurt you.
100%, because then it's too complicated to explain.
And you don't even know what the software does. When someone asks you, what does your software do? Well, it does this, it has all these features. You can't clarify in a 30-second pitch.
Yeah, one core use case that solves a clear problem.
Absolutely.
So let me tell you what today's sponsor, GPT Trainer, does. GPT Trainer lets you build your own custom chat GPT for your business. This way you can embed it into your website in minutes with no coding and let it handle all of your customer support and answer questions. It's going to collect all this data and of course provide you with the conversations so you can see what questions your customers are asking. GPT Trainer embeds on all of the popular websites, including Shopify, in a breeze. GPT Trainer is super easy to train. All you have to do is hit source and then upload the files you want in its knowledge base. And then from there, you design the custom experience. If you want to give it a try, go to gpt-trainer.com and use the code BRETT25 for 25% off the first purchase. Okay, so I want to break down a little bit more what you just said. So you said you're going to build the Figma. Okay,
yes.
What if you can't use Figma? Like, or what if you are not physically capable?
It costs $200 to get a person on Upwork to remake your software on Figma. This is how you hire on Upwork. First thing you're going to do is the quality of your job description dictates the quality of your hires and how cheap it's going to be. The less specific you are, and imagine you go to an agency, you just say, hey, can you help me build the software? They'll okay, yeah, we'll add this to you. Oh, it'll be $50,000. But here's how we do it for $200. You're going to screenshot all softwares you like. Just screenshot, put it on Figma. And then you're going to go and just very basic, just like type in, just simple wireframe, like the ugliest design. I'm probably the worst Figma designer on earth, okay? Screenshots and like small little wireframe details, okay? Then you're going to make a Notion template. And in that Notion template, you're going to describe what you need. a clear job description. You're going to call it a challenge, a $200 challenge, okay? You're going to make a little Loom video at the end, and you're going to say, hey, here's what the software is supposed to be. I want you just to recreate my wireframe and create me components, then make it clickable so I can click through on Figma Prototype. You're going to launch that on Upwork. I am guaranteeing you it, because we've just done this like 2 weeks ago to hire a new batch of designers. Between $200 and $500, you will get done a very good Figma design complete. Before you hire them, say, please send me a 5-minute Loom video of you just showing me your ability before I hire you. I don't hire someone unless they show me like 2 to 4 minutes how they're designing. People will show you their talents so quick. Never believe someone when they tell you, oh, it's going to take me a week or two to really show you how good I am. The talented A+ people show you in a matter of 5 minutes. So I asked everyone I hire, please send me a 5-minute Loom video just showing you designing. That's it. Just one little thing. Base it off that. Hire them for $200 to make that first page. And you can hire 2-3 people, because now you can have 2-3 versions and then combine them together and get the best guy to take all the ideas to make one perfect version. That's how you would start it. A landing page is so simple. A Webflow template. I mean, you can even use, you can use any. There's a million landing page builders, so I'm not going to get too.
Webflow's the best, though. Yes,
but super simple. I mean, a title, a Loom video, book a call. Nothing else. Nothing else. That's all that's needed for you to launch your software company.
Okay, so go more into we kind of just went deep onto like no-code software.
Yeah.
But your digital dropshipping concept, your Notion resources, the templates.
If you had no money today and you were starting off, what would you do? My answer to that is digitaldropshipping.com. And it's this concept I had 3 years ago, which was I saw that, oh my God, more and more value is being contained in digital products. People are feeling more comfortable paying $50 for a digital product. The value of a Notion template to be a planner or a resource kit on Figma, people are starting to understand the value of those things just like they would a physical product. A physical product solves a pain point. It provides value in some kind of context that we're familiar with as human beings. But as technology has really grown and software has gotten so intertwined in people's lives that miniature software, digital dropshipping products like a Notion template, a Go High Level Snapshot are becoming really valuable. And you make it one time and you can sell thousands of people, instant delivery. And it's the same process of selling a physical product with traditional dropshipping, but instead of selling a physical product from China with all the shipping time and return policies and all this other things that are going on behind the scenes, you own one thing and you sell it as many times as you want, and it's instantly fulfilled. Whenever that guy purchases your Notion template, you send one link out over email and the job is finished. The delivery is finished. And if the guy doesn't like it, whatever your policy is, your return policy, it's one click to refund him. When my e-commerce company, someone wanted to refund me, what are my options? Oh yeah, send it back. I want a return label. Return label. So now I'm going to pay for a return label. I'm going to give them their money back, and I'm going to have to do a restocking fee. It was better for me to just say, I'll just refund your money, keep the product. And you lose the cost of the product as well. With digital products, there is none of those. And it's an incredible blend of all the abilities you're learning in e-commerce. And it's a really great marriage of dabbling into software without really going hardcore to build a true software company, just a miniature software company, and getting all the experience that you're going to need to sell anything from e-commerce. I mean, the fundamentals of e-commerce are running ads, product description, images, copywriting, fulfillment, customer service. Those fundamentals, you're going to learn all of those, and also you're going to learn all the fundamentals of how do I really build some no-code SaaS, and how do I get into this digital realm where the valuations are bigger, where there is enterprise value, where there is all these great things that you're hearing about. I think it's a perfect blend of those two. And it's been 3 years since I kind of shared with my small audience, and a couple of people have really great success. And now that I sold everything off and I'm able to kind of start my personal brand, that's the direction that I want to take for those young, talented entrepreneurs who are getting started, and they could be successful in these other realms, but this is just the best way. This is, I think, the best vehicle for them before they go into their bigger ventures later on.
I want you to kind of give us more details on digital dropshipping. Like, how does someone identify the product that's right for them? Because when you say dropshipping, it kind of implies that they can just go on to an AliExpress and pick a product.
Yeah, you kind of can. You kind of can.
Explain this.
Yeah, you kind of can. I call it digital dropshipping because the premise of dropshipping is you find an existing product on Alibaba, and you take a generic product and you slap on a brand, you slap on a label, and you change the description. You essentially do the marketing. Well, it's the same thing. You're going to go on Etsy, you're going to go on TikTok, you're going to go on Twitter, and you're going to see these people who are selling these digital products. Easlo for Notion templates. There are some people on YouTube that sell Go High Level snapshots for $150. There are people on Etsy who sell ADHD Notion templates. Okay, you're going to buy them. You're going to see what they're doing. You're going to then take that. And again, if you're not a designer, go on Upwork, come up with a new brand name, remake it a little bit, target maybe a different demographic, and you're going to do the same process that you know and love from traditional e-commerce, and you're going to sell a digital product instead.
So you basically just find something that's working,
yes,
someone else is selling, that you kind of have a little bit of knowledge on,
yes,
and then look at their resource, make it your own way. Something's not you're not copying it, but you're making it similar, but adding your own touches to it, changing it to your branding, maybe adding a few other.
You're changing the value proposition.
Exactly.
You're changing the way angle that people are viewing what this product provides in their life. Mm-hmm. Someone could take a Notion template and frame it as productivity. They could frame it as ADHD solver. They could frame it for moms looking to organize their life. They could frame it for business professionals looking to make double their income. The same product can solve multiple different use cases depending on the perception.
So it's like, let's think let's just use this as like a physical journal. So a Notion planner is the same thing.
Yes.
But let's say a physical journal. I can make a physical journal with a pink cover and say this is for girls,
absolutely,
third grade girls. Yeah. Or I can make it a black hardcore one. This is for high school boys.
Absolutely.
It's the same planner.
Same planner.
And so you're saying the same thing applies for digital products.
Yes.
And so you can find these digital products, but then just totally remarket it, rebrand it, and then run targeted TikTok ads or whatever to that demographic.
Spot on.
Okay, what's the funnel? So let's say it's a TikTok organic video, so you don't have to pay anything. You just make some content about this digital product. You put a link in the bio. What's the link in the bio to purchase this Notion template?
Yeah, I mean, you could just use like stand.shop, and if you don't stand.shop. So it's like a very simple, almost like a link tree. It's like a mini Shopify. So you can make it in 5 minutes. Now, Shopify might take you a day or two. You know, there's a little bit more going on, complexity going on. But stand.shop and almost like a link tree, 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes and you can validate your concept.
We use super.so. Have you heard of that?
Absolutely. Super.so, you take your Notion, it's already on Notion, and just go on super.so, click 2 buttons, and it makes you a website.
And you have a website like to sell products.
Absolutely. And Stripe just launched their Stripe embed. So you can just copy their Stripe embed link, pop it in your Notion, and boom, you got a website up.
It's the best way to just get reps in, because you can make this digital product in a day or two. Super.so automatically connects it. Just set up a price, connect your Stripe account. You're ready to sell a product. Put that link in your bio on TikTok and just start making videos showing people how it literally solves the problem they already have.
Yes.
And you're just getting reps in of getting traffic to a landing page. And it works. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you just make a video, you post, you look at the analytics, like, oh, there's 15 people that bought this today.
Yes.
And there's no way to do that. Now, if you want to get more professional, you build a real personal brand around it. You get more creative with your ads.
Yep.
But in theory, you just have to pick one product that you know people want, and then just try different ways to get eyeballs on it. Yep. And you can make $100 a day.
Distribution is more important than anything else, guys. Distribution and the way in which you're positioning the product to solve a value proposition for a specific demographic.
Does it make you mad that back in the day when you were dropshipping, you had to run Facebook ads, when now you can just make TikTok, Shorts, Instagram Reels?
I think every generation has their pros and cons. And I think when people say, oh, the glory days of the past and all this stuff, every day is getting better, in my opinion. You have to find the edges. Every single talented person I've mentored, I've probably given over 1,000 people one-on-one advice over my years. And every single talented person who's made a good amount of money, it's always because they found an edge and they took their foundation. So they have a general foundation of substance, right? They have the basic premises of everything. But what got them their breakthrough was finding an edge in the market. When you look at Oliver, it's finding an edge in the market, like, oh my God, this is really growing right here, scaling horizontally with all these affiliates. This product is really crushing for my shout outs. There's something that they found an edge in that they were able to double down on and ride that wave of momentum. Finding edges, and the edges are bigger than ever. The waves are bigger than ever now. You catch an edge today, like you can make a lot of money really quickly. And there's pros and cons to you have to just be adaptable to whatever the market is presenting you and find those edges. Those edges are difficult to discover because as soon as an edge comes, it goes. The market is somewhat efficient. So if something's really, really good, the market's going to find it.
We learned smart contracts early.
Yeah.
That was our edge. And at the beginning of the bull run or whatever, we could charge $500,000 for a smart contract.
Bingo. It was so
scarce, no trust. And now it's
$200.
$200, literally. So it's like that was a span of a year.
Yeah.
And so it's literally just like this value arbitrage if you're early to an opportunity. It's very interesting to think about, but those are constantly happening.
They're constantly happening, and you have to be at the forefront to find these edges. And once you find them, most people who find an edge, they will only tell you about it after it's done. Mm-hmm. They're never going to tell you about the edge in the middle. Finding an edge is always the marriage of two things: a technology shift that makes it economically feasible to do something, and a demographic shift. So the blend of these two things, the marriage of those two things. And a great example is the new AI wave and a new demographic. Mm-hmm. So the new AI wave, GPT-3 came out 3 years ago.
It's crazy. It's old.
It's pretty old. When it first came out, I was like, oh my God, it's here. But it wasn't economically feasible.
Right.
So smartphones were before the iPhone, but it wasn't economically feasible to have something valuable than a comparable in the market. So now the cost of GPT-4 in the next couple of months is going to drop dramatically. Here's the way we find the edge. GPT-4 is much better at continual prompting. So GPT-3 could get pretty close on small actions, but now GPT-4 can really go deeper, and the cost is dropping by tenfold. And so the marriage of that with the coming business professionals. So business professionals who are spending 40, 50 hours a week on their job are beginning to start using these tools to become more productive, 30, 40, 50% more productive. And putting a bow on it, kind of like that mini dropshipping thing, to make them more valuable, I think is going to be a huge edge. Every single white-collar worker will need to use AI tools. It's non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you know someone who does not use Google? You don't know someone like that anymore. And so they have to use these tools. And so how do we find narrower, self-contained things? Like, oh, this does really well at taking your existing PowerPoint and reformatting it. There's some specific variable that GPT-4 is going to unlock to make high-end white-collar work much, much simpler.
It's the whole micro SaaS idea. And with AI, there's a huge opportunity to finding like literally just this one streamlined order of these multiple tools that solves one super specific problem in a big industry.
Yes.
Even if it's just a managerial process or a follow-up process, it's like you have to be living it to identify it. But if you can figure out the first one to take these AI APIs very linearly, combining 4 processes in a row, you could easily make $100K a month in a little micro SaaS like that.
Yeah. And again, you're going to notice that, oh my God, there's a lot of like similar products in the space, but then one kind of emerges. Mm-hmm. And like, why does that one emerge? Again, it's a combination of their branding, their positioning, and their initial spike of distribution.
They found the perfect order.
It's just a blend of these variables coming together in a symphony. I mean, what makes a good song? What makes anything good? It's a combination of multiple variables that just blend together harmoniously. I'll give you a great example of someone I'm advising right now. I think he would actually love me promoting his product. I don't think It's called Rojo, and it's an appointment setting bot for Go High Level. So he made this app inside Go High Level.
What is Go High Level for everybody, just real quick?
Go High Level is a tool that you use to capture leads, so SMS and email. Essentially, it's a BlueReceipt for agencies. So for service-based businesses, it's not designed for e-commerce, it's designed for service-based businesses.
Okay.
And so you're capturing information, SMS, email, and now what he built was a ChatGPT wrapper that appointment sets. Means it has conversations with people, just like an appointment setter does, and it moves them down the pipeline. And it says, oh, this guy's ready to book a call. Gets them to book a call. So it's essentially an appointment setting bot.
But specifically inside a Go High Level's platform.
Specifically inside Go High Level's platform.
Who use Go High Level.
For agency owners to give to their clients. So he doesn't go after clients, he goes after agency owners who have clients underneath. His top one is Frank Kern. Frank Kern has 400 people that he's helping. So Frank Kern alone is making him over 15K MRR.
So he's basically giving business owners a product to then sell to their clients.
Yes.
And so it's like much higher leverage.
And it's super sticky. Way less churn. Every single person he gets on starts to compound because they're going after the tail end, and the software is expanding based on how many people they're servicing. So he doesn't need to go after every single one of those clients, and those people are churning off so quickly. He finds the couple of people who are really dense hubs, captures them, they go to everyone else. The tools available make it so that your idea is very close to execution. The better your idea, the closer it is to execution, because these tools execute now. We've transitioned from the model of Google where it was queries. So you have an idea, you query it, and then Google gives you information, but you then have to go execute. Today, it's like flipped. You're the Google, you're finding information, you're orchestrating information, and these AI tools are executing. You want to be an orchestrator. You want to have clarity on the processes that the way in which something operates under, because these tools are getting so good, they're going to be executing better than any human. And what's missing is orchestration and how the quality of your idea, distribution, branding, affiliates, partnerships, investors, all those things matter so much more than product.
Yeah, it's like you need to find the right sequence to solve the right problem in the most streamlined way possible.
Yep.
And so like with AI, these are all very new APIs. And so there's a lot of possibility, but it's like really dialing on one specific problem. It's kind of like your Shopify with the black mask example. You said like you understood looking at the outside, I see a product, I know I need to sell it, but there's a lot of steps in between that need to be perfectly ordered. And that's the opportunity right now, is perfectly ordering these AI tools and these no-code tools.
If you guys are learning this stuff, you have all the pieces. Okay, maybe I know how to do Figma. I know how to hire someone. I know a little bit about Bubble. I know about how to make a landing page. I know how to contact people. I know how to make content. But what you guys are missing, what I was missing, was how the hell does it look when it's complete? And I think, Brett's doing a great job of showing, here is how the puzzle looks when it's complete. And now you have a frame of reference to model after, to say, okay, those are the variables that I need to look at when deciding if I should pursue this idea and how well it's going to work. And those variables, like I mentioned, is how well are people excited about your product? How well can you communicate the value proposition? How willing are people able to pay? And then how fast are they able to get that reward from your software? How valuable is that piece of action? For that software I would describe for Rojo, it was very valuable because now they replaced all their appointment setters, and now they have a tool they could sell. So all those people he convinced to use the product, once they saw that click, oh my God, this is texting on my behalf, this is sending a voice memo on my behalf, they now understand how they can sell it. He found his ambassadors. That's the key.
You made them something that they can make money from. You made them a product to sell.
Bingo.
Digital dropshipping.
Digital dropship.
So what are you working on now? What is your main thing that you are working towards?
Well, so now my mission statement is to discover, educate, and partner with top young talent in business design and engineering. And I've been postponing personal brand for the better half of 7 years. The first time I wanted to take it seriously was when I made $2 million dropshipping in 2017. I launched a little Shopify course called Shopify Mastery for one day. I said, 20 people can buy it. I want to see, I know I can sell the crap out of it. but I wasn't confident in how many people can really get success. And when I sold those 20 people, my expectation was so high. I said, oh my God, I need to make these guys, 20, 40K a month on Shopify, or this is a failure. And I got a little bit disillusioned because I said, man, I can sell a lot of these programs, but there just isn't that many really talented people for me to just show show this opportunity. It's just very difficult. It took me 4 years to finally make Shopify work. Mm-hmm. And I made Shopify work from one mentorship. It was a 2-day event in the beginning of 2017. A 2-day event that put it all together. It put the puzzle in front of me. I knew how the puzzle looked when it was completed. I had all the pieces. Remember, I learned all the pieces on how Shopify works, from suppliers to advertising to building a store, everything. But I didn't know what it looked like when the whole thing was complete. I had all the pieces, but imagine you're building a jigsaw puzzle, you got all the pieces, but you
got to put in order.
You don't know what the picture looks like. You can't visualize what the whole thing looks like. And I learned from these guys, Mac and Mike, in the beginning of 2017. They made $1 million a month selling black masks. So black charcoal masks for pores. And when they showed me how the whole thing looked, I was like, oh my God, I could do that. 2 months later, I made my first $100,000 a month. End of that year, I made $1 million a month dropshipping before I launched the brand. I built a bigger brand. And I'm like, okay, I'll build a software company. I wanted $1 billion company. And really, I said, in order for me to do that, especially if I don't want to have funding, I have to think of a different way. I think outside the box on how to accomplish that. And I thought the best route would be to create this most incredible product. But I soon realized that, people were using my product, but then all the top customers, remember, there's only about 1,000 top customers that Klaviyo has that gives them 80% of the total value of their company. 1,000 clients produces 80% of the value of Klaviyo, which is a $10 billion company. Those clients were so valuable that all these companies like Attentive Mobile and Klaviyo were paying people $500 gift cards to just do a 15-minute demo call. And then saying, we'll give you 90 days for free. We'll have our account executive transfer everything over to ours, and we'll compete on break-even pricing for the next year just to get you inside our platform and to use you as a case study. And you realize, oh my God, for the people that I need on my platform, I'm getting destroyed by all these people who raise so much money. I can't afford to spend 18 months payback period on day one to acquire this customer. And the other people, the small businesses, the SMBs, those are really bad clients. Those are really bad customers. They churn really high. They complain really often, and you can't really use them as case study to propel your brand forward.
Right.
They're a losing proposition across the board, and unless you find a method of distributing to millions of people with like a viral TikTok or affiliates or your personal brand, I mean, you're in a tough spot. Personal brand is the only business that unlocks all the moves. What do I mean by that? When I'm building a software company or I'm building an e-commerce brand or all this, I'm unlocking moves in one direction. Whereas personal brand, it's almost like it builds inward. It unlocks all these directions. And so now someone can present me an opportunity and say, George, I have an amazing software company. Can you help me and accelerate me and all this stuff? And I could take all my experience, all my ability, all my connections, all my distribution methods, and validate it in 20 minutes. And then I can let that driver go. And he does really well. We can go pour gas on an existing fire. Another guy comes to me with an e-commerce brand. He spent 6 months developing this product, and he's getting ready to launch it, but it didn't go so well. George, what do you think about it? I'm like, oh my God, this is great, but the launch strategy was bad. This was bad. Let me connect you with this guy. Boom, boom, boom. I could orchestrate and utilize the ability of people and their opportunity in a way that I can't if I just go down one path. Because if I go down one path, I narrow myself out and I can't utilize the breadth of my ability. But in order to use the breadth of my ability, I have to build myself as a valuable asset in and of myself. Because now I could take, if I don't have a big following, but if you look at who follows me and you're in the industry, it's a who's who of top level people. It's the craziest level of density in the industry. But I'm not able to really harness that energy, harness that power, because I haven't built George yet. So how can I provide value to Jordan Welsh? How can I provide value to Sebastian George? How can I provide value to you? How can I provide value to Zane, to Umar, to Iman, to all these people? I can't. Maybe I can for one small direction, one e-commerce company, for this one guy right here, maybe. But with personal brand, I can give value in all these different directions because simply being around me is exchanging value. Think about this. If you're around someone, this guy is worth $1 billion next to you, value is just difficult to flow onto you. Like he's not, oh, let me send you $100,000 in your account. But if you're around someone with a lot of following and you just having me on your podcast with an existing following, 340,000 subscribers, you're in a way like depositing money in my account. It's transferring over value in a way that's just not possible with simply money or simply opportunity. And if I could be this beacon of my cup overflows, right? The value just comes in from within me. Well, then every time I'm around someone, I could just, Jesus, whatever that quote is essentially your cup overflows. Meaning by you building yourself and your value starts to leak on to others. I think that's the number one thing that I could do now. And I've just been postponing it for so long because I had this idea that I first needed to gain the experience and wisdom to teach. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have the understanding at an earlier age that it might have been better to just document. Mm-hmm. That documentation instead of results oriented. Looking back now, it's like a catch-22. I mean, should I have just documented? Or we never know because all we know is, how do we know that my idea of waiting until I was old and wise to start wasn't the best idea? It could be the best idea if what I do in the future enables this idea to come to fruition.
So I think the best two comparisons here is Alex Hormozi versus Iman.
Yes.
Iman's goated. Like he documented his journey when he was nothing, how he figured it out, and now he's teaching people of that same demographic how to do what he did. And he documented it so he has the authority. Yep. And he's the only person that should be teaching that demographic because he was that demographic just a few years ago.
Yep.
And then Alex Hormozi, complete opposite. No personal brand until he sold for 60+ million. And now he's coming out here not selling anybody anything. And just, you can't dispute any of his knowledge because he just did it. Mm-hmm. But both complete opposite approaches. I just think with personal brand, it has to be authentic to your story.
I agree with that. And I didn't know what my story was besides what I've done. Mm-hmm. And it took me a little while people will always say, like, George, you've been the same as you've always been. I would agree with that statement, but I felt like I needed external things to validate who I am. You always, you meet someone and it's great to, just, be around them as friends, but like, what do you do? What are you basing your identity off of? And I always based up my identity from my e-commerce company or my software company. And now to just say, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm building George. I'm building the brand of George. And authentic is an important word. Relatable is an important word. But there are tried and true things that are just universal that you have to employ in order to communicate your message to the world. Employing the idea of duality and polarity, right? I was just like you, Iman. Like, I was just like you. I had no knowledge and I was broke and all this stuff. To now I'm this person, showing the full spectrum of who you are, that polarity. The better your polarity, the bigger you can go. Another great example is Alex Earl. So when I started following her, she had under 50K subscribers on TikTok. And the moment she started blowing up was when she started posting how bad her acne was. Why? Because now people, she's relatable. This word relatable is interesting because to me it means that she's shown a side of her that the average person thinks they're better than. But they know that her top is much better than them. So it's like this duality of she's showing something of her that, oh my God, even I'm better than her at this. Meaning she's showing something so vulnerable, like, Ty Lopez saying, I only have $47 in my bank account, or Iman, like, I came up from an abusive household, or all this. People have these origin stories, and they want to communicate that they were in a worse position than you. You, the average person, they were worse than. And now they're here. They're trying to create this polarity. They're trying to stretch out this polarity as much as they possibly can, and that creates this level of density. Density comes from the variation, like the roller coaster ride of Alex always does this, which like, I'm a hot mess. I'm so messy and sloppy, and you guys are seeing my Finsta. She's communicating relatable. Relatable in this word simply, from my perspective, means that she's trying to portray herself as something even worse than an average person. Like, oh my God, even the average person is cleaner than her. Even the average person had less acne than her. That's how I see it.
It's a fine line of being like the authority. A lot of people want to be like the authority. And so they try to feel like they put themselves above their audience, be like, look at me, I'm all successful. You should want to live like me. Yeah. Or if you actually take the opposite approach, show that you're successful, but also show that I'm also exactly like you and we're in this together. It's a much more, you're going to get much more loyal fans.
Yeah, and how well you can communicate your trials and tribulations. I mean, everyone loves a hero's journey comes with ordeals, and it comes with structuring a way that the ordeal really made you a better person. Like Iman struggle, like when he posted that, hey guys, I was battling a bout of suicide. I don't know, did you see this post on Instagram? Mm-mm. Well, so he posted in 2021, like last year I had this bout of depression, and he really created another density in his audience because he was able to communicate something very vulnerable and show how he emerged out of it. But it wasn't so negative that people were like, oh man, that kind of sucked. Like Logan Paul has some ordeals that people don't like and are using against him. And so how do you communicate a great ordeal story that makes you better, that amplifies your ability, and it just makes you more favorable to the audience? I mean, another part is just, perception is reality. And so I can be friends with someone, and I can even have a relationship with someone for years, but you never really know who that person is, maybe until something really good or really bad happens. And so it could just be very difficult to, what is truth? Truth is just it's authentic, and truth, these are things that there's some objective reality to them, but the perception in which you view it from could change. And so, I mean, we can dive into some like political conflicts today and other stuff, but the truth is just very malleable. That's what I realized, is that the idea that there's some objective reality that everyone sees in the exact same way, I just haven't seen it. I've seen that the truth, perception is reality. Perception is reality for people, and the way in which they're viewing, their lens of perception dictates how they see someone.
Every time you go on social media, someone's trying to imprint a view on you.
Absolutely.
Everyone's trying to tell you that their business is the best business model. Everyone's trying to tell you their way of living is the right way of living. And they all got them from somebody else. It's absolutely very interesting.
What I'd say to that is every human being is self-interested, but the best position you want to be in is where both of your self-interests are aligned. When two parties are both self-interested, but they come together into one cohesive alignment, that there's a win-win situation from, that's the best position. So when someone's pitching you like, this is the best idea, this is the best business model, all this stuff, in a way, they're all right. In a way, they're all right. Every opportunity has its pros and cons. Every opportunity could work really well depending on who you are, your skill set, your position, all these different variables. And so knowing yourself and knowing your own self-interests and deciding which person do you best align with. Everyone's self-interested. I mean, this is a fact of human beings. I don't think that's something we should. And in fact, I think that's the best strategy. It'd be kind of weird if helping someone with like absolutely nothing for the other person. It's kind of weird if you think about it. It's like, well, what is the person gain? You want to have kind of a transparency and like, here's how I gain. So when people are like, I'm giving away this for free because yes, I'm capturing you on my email list and I'm going to provide you value because hopefully later on you like me enough to purchase my later products. Or I'm going to give you a Shopify free store because I'm a Shopify affiliate and I'm making money on the back end. Jordan Bound has 400,000 people in his Shopify course. And he tells them, why am I giving you this for free that I spend $100,000 to produce? Because I make money from affiliates. And I only make money from affiliates if you guys use them and are successful with them. There's a perfect alignment together. And so just finding those people who you resonate with that are aligned with your self-interest and that coordinate with the uniqueness about who you are, your ability, your skill set, and more importantly, where the hell do you want to go? Everyone wants to go a slightly different direction. And if you can clarify to yourself the destination you want to get to, the answers of how to get there, the turn-by-turn directions are not that difficult. The more difficult part is most people don't know where the hell they want to go.
Well said. I think this is going to be, I'm kind of turning the conversation here, but McKinsey is like one of the biggest consulting companies in the world. And I don't think people understand how important consulting is. And I think I cannot express how much we've learned from you and how you've changed the direction of what we're doing put us onto this. So I appreciate you. But I think that's very important and a very admirable mission to be specifically trying to find these people who are trying to figure out that order. And since you've gone through all of it, you're just pointing them and saying, skip this, reposition this, launch this way. And so if you want to comment on that, do you have something to say?
Yeah, my mission is, again, penetrating the body, very narrow. So my mission statement is I'm looking to find talented, ambitious, young male entrepreneurs in business design and engineering. It's a little bit different from maybe a mission statement from Alex Hormozi, which is provide business content for the masses. Or Iman, which is he has such a big audience now that he's providing reforming the education system. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a smaller person, I can say more specific things that might not resonate with 1 million people, but might resonate with the 5,000 absolute killers.
You went into the depth with BlueReceipt. I cannot explain
it
how
was
deep.
painful. It was painful.
Yeah, but you have all those lessons is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think I have a good breadth of success and failure. And not only that, but I've also mentored so many people throughout the 5-6 years.
So you've compiled the best, yeah.
I have, I think, a great breadth of understanding now. And when I'm mentoring some new people that I'm partnering with, I see their talent so quickly. And I'm like, oh my God, I could just help align this person to go down the right direction. And his talent and his ability is going to decide how big he gets. And I really can't control that so much. I can't move your hand or decide your level of talent. But what I can do is I can position you in the right direction, encourage you, give you the support and system you need to be successful. And all I have to do is just find the right drivers, find the right talented people who can showcase the value of my direction. And the quality of an educator is the quality of his students. So the better you pick your students, the better you pick the things you're teaching, the better you can showcase. Because there's only so much you could do to help people. There's only so much you could do. A lot of it is dictated on just their natural ability, their natural talents. That's going to showcase. So when I give Sebastian advice or Jordan Walsh advice, I mean, how much credit can I take? Yeah, maybe I steered them in the right direction, but they were already super talented. They were already had these abilities. But I also know, here's another really important thing. Many talented people went down wrong directions, and they went super fast down the wrong direction. So direction is more important than ability, but ability will ultimately decide how big you end up becoming, because a lot of talented people go down the right direction. So you're competing against those people too.
So if they have defined ability, proven ability, and then they come to you with a crossroad, do I go down?
That's the perfect person.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the perfect person.
And then you just being able to point them left or right, and if you point them in the correct direction, they make millions of dollars or an extra $100,000.
If I find the person at the right crossroad, it's just so important. I mean, if someone can take me at there's about 6 to 7 crossroads over the last 5 to 7 years. If I just took a left turn instead of a right turn, a lot of amazing things could happen in those positions. There's not a lot of critical moments in life, but there's some, and those some are very important. Very important. I'll tell you a couple of ones that I went down the wrong path on. When I was building the e-commerce brand, a bad idea I had was that I asked myself this question, which was, would Gucci or Louis Vuitton sell on Amazon? And the answer was no, right? The answer is no. But I conflated that idea with that, then Lux won't sell on Amazon. Whoa, hold on. That was a bug in the system. If you would have asked me today, if George would have asked me, younger George today, why do you think Lux shouldn't sell on Amazon? if I would re-ask myself the question, I'd be like, oh my God, no, that was stupid. That was a bug in the system. It was just some wires getting crossed in my head that made a wrong decision. And because I didn't sell on Amazon, it didn't allow me to scale up horizontally for all the auxiliary products for iPhone accessories, cables, regular cases, all these different types of products that I couldn't run ads to. I can't run Facebook ads to a charging cable for $15. There's not enough margin. But I can grow a brand on Amazon, and I can leverage the distribution of Amazon to sell those products and still get 30-40% gross margin because of the brand value and the residual effect, like Anker and Belkin. And that was a tremendously bad idea. So there's a lot of critical moments that seem futile. Like it seemed like, oh, I would have made that decision anyway. Like, would you have? You know, it's like,
they're very subjective. Like you probably made the decision like, oh, would Gucci or Louis Vuitton do this? I want to be like them. So no. So it's the story that you like confirmed in your mind. And so then you're like, this is 100% the right decision. It's a no-brainer. But then if you really sat down and critically thought or just had one outside opinion, they're like, you're not Gucci, bro. Like it's a phone case or something like that. Like you need to completely reframe the way you're considering that because you feel like you made the right decision because you had this false confirmation.
Yes.
And that's dangerous. And that's where a fresh pair of eyes is invaluable for a company. Yes. So I want to now ask you, what do you think is the best order or even the best creator stack? And so, for example, let's say my creator stack is YouTube channel to newsletter to info product to a no-code SaaS. That's what we're doing. That's my creator stack.
So we're talking about a creator stack for someone looking to build their personal brand.
For someone just wanting to find success. Like I know everyone's going to be subjective and different, and everyone has different paths based on their skill set. But what do you think is the most powerful creator stack or the right approach and the order to go about it?
A square could be a rectangle, but a rectangle can't be a square. YouTube can broaden out to every other social media, but every other social media cannot broaden out into YouTube. So your Twitter doesn't necessarily mean that your YouTube's going to grow. And your TikTok doesn't mean that your other platforms are going to grow. But if you build your YouTube, you document your story, it can go into all these other social medias really effectively, and the density you're going to build from it is incomparable to anything else. Long-form content, so they can really get a three-dimensional understanding of who you are, has no comparable. Now, the second part to that is, as you build up your personal brand and you leverage it out into different social medias, depending on what you're trying to sell, different platforms sell different products better. I would urge you, if you actually want to make money, you have to figure out your way towards something high ticket. High ticket is your ticket to a lifestyle that you want. Because it's like when you're trying to build a brand like an e-commerce company, you got to be a really talented person. I mean, you got to, because it's a fastball's coming and you got to be able to hit that fastball. But high ticket, even affiliate high ticket, it's like hitting a Bozu ball. There are people today with, I think, $15 an hour skill sets that are being affiliates for other people's programs and making an exuberant amount of money. All because they're able to leverage high ticket. So every piece of content, although it might not get so many views, well, one sale could mean $1,000. And $1,000 means a heck of a lot, especially when that's in your pocket, as opposed to $1,000 revenue on Shopify. That doesn't mean so much. And so, although it's great that going into all these different realms like e-commerce and software and all these things, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of great variables to it, but going after something high ticket, building towards something high ticket, is the surefire way that you'll be successful. I mean, if you go high ticket, it's like hitting a Bozu ball. It's the surface area for you to hit. If you do YouTube and something high ticket or even affiliate high ticket promotion, you can't lose. I mean, it's virtually impossible to lose if you actually do it. Just doing it ensures victory. Whereas just doing a software company, just doing an e-commerce brand does not ensure victory. It does not. High ticket is your gateway towards the lifestyle you truly want. And you got to be a killer. You got to be talented to really make a big lifestyle happen from e-commerce or software.
Would you not say that I feel like a personal brand or e-commerce or software, I feel like this might even be, is it easy? How comparable is the difficulty of a personal brand compared to an e-com store?
So an e-commerce store, although you can get some success relatively quickly, it's hard to make it fund your whole big lifestyle, right? Whereas with the personal brand, it has this compounding nature to it that just chugs along, that ensures victory. Because the Shopify stores, you might have some outliers, like some killers who, boom, they crush it. But you look at the true distribution, it's kind of like, I don't want to call it network marketing, but you just look at the distribution of people who are actually successful to live the kind of life that they're saying that they're living. And I'm telling you that it's, for an average person, when you look at a normal distribution of people, if I want to ensure victory for a normal distribution of people, the only way I can truly do that is YouTube personal brand or some way personal brand using TikTok and building towards high ticket distribution, either as an affiliate or their own type of product that ensures victory.
What would an example of a high ticket be in this example?
Yeah, so there's a lot of these people, affiliate marketers on Instagram and TikTok, and they're all having standout shop in their bio, and they're promoting a $2,000 product from someone else that's teaching them how to do affiliate marketing or how to sell a Shopify brand or how to do all these different types of things. And they're just presenting the opportunity, and they're just building themselves as a vehicle of entertainment and presentation and communicating to a certain demographic. Like maybe I can't communicate to 40-year-old Susan, but someone else can. And that is just the surefire way to have an income that we can really rely on, that everyone will be successful if they do it. If you say, if I do something, will I be successful? And this is the only thing that I can guarantee you. With Shopify or software, if you execute, if you just do it, it's still a lot of other things. You have to find an edge in the market. You have to find the right product at the right time. You have to have all these fundamental abilities. And even if you do make it work, a lot of these things crash and burn. So it's hard for me to guarantee success to the masses. But yeah, if you're talented and you find an edge in e-commerce or software, yeah, you could definitely do bigger than the beginnings of a personal brand. So yeah, initially, if you're talented, you can spike up on those other things. But if I'm looking for the general masses, I'm giving them something, that's what I'd recommend. But if I'm telling the killers, I'd tell the killers to document the process of them doing an e-commerce or a software company or an agency.
Interesting. So it's almost like, I view it as there's two options. You have venture-backed SaaS, where you have to raise money, and then you have the investor who's kind of like your boss in a way. He's not your boss, but he is in a way. Like you are locked into that business. You have to see this thing through. Versus personal brand to info product, then bootstrap that ecom store or that. That's
the best route. That ensures victory.
That is my thesis, and I think people forget that like the goal is to make money. Like especially with this whole like glorification of raising money, like people will literally brag that they just raised $2 million, and I'm like, that sounds horrible. Why are you celebrating? Like that sounds stressful. Like yes, congratulations, you convince people to give you money, and you have a good idea.
If you don't know the whole scenario, yeah. For the vast majority of those times, it's golden handcuffs. And there are not that many scenarios where there's a lot more dead bodies than there are survivors. Let's just say that. Venture capital, by definition, is betting on a number on a roulette wheel.
And you just want 60 bets.
So you hear about the one that won, but it was 1 out of 30 odds, right? You hear about those survivors. No one talks about the dead bodies. There's a lot more dead bodies. And yeah, maybe you could be the one. You could be the winner. Sure, there, of course. But for everyone watching, something they could do, everyone should do, no matter how talented you are, document your journey. There's just no substitute, and it's just absolutely necessary.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be high production. You don't need all these lights. You don't need these nice mics. Just be authentic to where you're at, and just say, "Hey, I'm making this so you guys can see what I'm learning. I'm going to share as I go." That's how I view my YouTube channel. Even
documenting you going to work and your journey, just getting the ball rolling in a direction, and quickly opportunities are going to start flying to you that you would never otherwise get.
It's literally like how I think of my channel. It's just I learned about AI no-code SaaS, so I immediately make a video on AI no-code SaaS, and that's my plan.
Yes.
And then we do it for a year, and now we've rolled out our AI no-code SaaS, and then I'm going to share how it goes. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but if I'm excited about a new opportunity myself, I just go share it with people because it's not taking anything away from me.
Yeah.
And I'm also helping these people with what I just learned. So it's like, I go learn it, I talk about it. I talk about it.
I had the opposite approach, which I learned something and I go tell a couple of one-to-one people, but then it lives and dies there. So a lot of you guys maybe listening, you have a good idea and you go tell your buddy. Mm-hmm. No, go tell the world.
Mm-hmm. And then you can point back to that as proof that you know what the fuck you're talking about.
And you start building yourself.
Right.
Everything you have, you start building yourself up, even if the idea is bad. You document the journey of how you discovered whether or not this idea was good or how you thought about doing it. That accrues value. That starts building yourself up. Nothing else is comparable. The personal brand is the square. The square can be any rectangle. It could be any business. But all those other businesses can't be the personal brand. Can't be all these other things.
So explain your approach to your personal brand since you're really just starting to launch it big this year.
So when I'm starting my personal brand, I have to think, who is George? What's his unique position in the market? And what is his edge? No one really cares about George right now. So I have to figure out, well, how do I present some form of content that goes after my ideal market, which is talented young male entrepreneurs, but also leverages all the existing value that I've provided to hundreds of really top-end people in the space. And so my penetration point was I was going to make long-form documentaries breaking down people's businesses. So breaking down Luke Belmar's business, breaking down Iman Gadzhi's business, breaking down Umar Arshef's business. And through this long-form content, I can showcase behind the scenes of how the magic trick is done. So not entertainment like what they would show you, but I would show you how are they actually doing this? What does their funnel look like? Breaking down how they're presenting their personal brand, how they're doing their education, how they're selling people, how much they sold, all this behind the scenes stuff. Then do podcasts on the side. And as my personal brand grows, we'll then have my initial offer, which is going to be digital dropshipping. And then digital dropshipping branches off into two forms. One form is the e-commerce side of digital dropshipping, and the second is the agency side. The agency side of digital dropshipping is that you're going to sell a front-end product once again, but on the back end, you're going to sell your agency services. So you're going to capture people on the front end from your Go High Level snapshot, but then in the back end, you're going to sell them your agency service to have a done for you, appointment setting setup. So it's like a front-end acquisition model too. Mm-hmm. So that's the two ways I'm going to branch out, and it would be hyper-focused. Go ahead.
So how much are you selling that digital product for on the front end?
Yeah, so on the for these people that I'm teaching, it would be ranging between 25 and 150.
Why no higher?
You could do higher,
like
but
300 or
I just don't think there's a broad enough way you can do front-end acquisition on a higher end. More than $300 is very difficult to sell someone without a call or without a lot of warm. So I'm talking about cold ads. Okay. It's very difficult. Now, if you have a warm audience, yeah, you could definitely sell for $300, $400, $500. I would definitely agree with that. But if you're running ads and you're just kind of utilizing cold traffic, it's very difficult. Anything above 150, you just get in the realm of you need to do a call, you need to do warm leads.
Interesting. Okay. Have you looked at the productized agency model at all?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Everyone's going that direction because, that one guy really showcased.
Yeah.
And he made $1 million off his course.
Yeah.
He productized you.
Yeah,
it's great. He showcased that, hey, we're leveraging all this MRR into our agency model. He just kind of put a different spin on it, and he showed people that you can do this with any type of agency. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a hard sell. Honestly, to be honest with you, I think unless you have really warm leads, it could be difficult to pitch someone on a monthly contract like that when they might just have a small project basis they want to do, but maybe those aren't even the clients you want to work with to begin with.
His demographic is YC-backed companies. So it's like, yeah.
But he's built that track record, and he's able to leverage that track record and those warm leads from the brand he's built to then sell you on, here's what I'm doing, here's the best opportunity to do it on. So once again, the personal brand and him documenting his process not only gave him all the clients, but gave him the ability to sell the product, which makes him just as much as the services.
Okay, last thing I always like to ask people is their tech stack and their funnel.
The main tech stack I use every single day is Notion, Figma, Google Calendar, Google Docs, WhatsApp. Instagram. Every tool is free. I really don't use no paid tool is an end all be all. Those tools are free and they're so powerful. It's the person behind using it and how well you can orchestrate the ideas for what you want to accomplish.
And then what is the funnel you're rocking right now?
The funnel I'm rocking is, do you think George is cool? That's the only funnel. It's you view what I'm saying, you view my look, you view my story, and you say, yo, that's a guy I want to be friends with, I want to connect with. That's my funnel. It's, do you like George? Mm-hmm. And if I can build a good enough traction on many people liking George, well, like I told you guys earlier, we can go into any realm. And many people hit me up to, partner with me one-on-one and mentor them. And that's what I love the most, which is finding just exceptional young talent. Like a kid who hit me up 2 days ago that I'm working with, 17 years old, making $20,000 a month with a car detailing business. And he has so well-spoken, such immense potential, and just finding really great talent like that and helping them, I'm 29 now. So man, if I could have someone like me truly being a mentor at that young age and guiding me down the right direction, that would be really phenomenal. So if I could provide that service to those talented kids, that's really what I want to focus on.
There's a lot of talented kids watching this right now. So where can they find you, brother?
The best way to find me is Instagram, send me a DM, or YouTube, now that I'm producing a couple of pieces of content.
What are the handles?
George Stoitzev. So George, Stoitz, will be a link in the bio probably. Just send me a DM, and that's probably the best way.
Okay, brother. I love your approach. It's super simplified, and we're using the most modern technology to make it very accessible for the everyday person. Like the actual software approach, just a workable Figma, then a bubble, actual building it, and then Webflow to sell it, and then the digital.
There's no need to overcomplicate it. You can start overcomplicating when you start breaking things. Breaking things means you have so many customers paying you so much money that they want all these additional features. That's
the hard part. Yeah.
Until you get there, I wouldn't worry so much.
Okay, brother, you gave us the path. I appreciate you coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you, George.